the Victorian period wouldn't have been very good if you were poor. Okay, if
Not
you were.
at all. Not
you
so
know.
bad as, well, it would have been all right had you been rich, but not for women particularly, because, you know, women still didn't have the vote. They had to do mainly what their husbands said. Everything that they
Owned.
belonged to their husband, including their children.
Yes.
So that must have been very hard, I think, in some cases.
Yes, it would have been, well, you'd have fought against. I seem to remember one of your characters being very political.
Yes.
One of the mill girls.
That's right, the doorstep girl.
That's
yes,
it.
That's
and
right. Yes.
she actually was way beyond her time.
She was, but she was so very poor and needed to find a way out of that.
And
I suppose she felt very angry about it.
Yes.
And so yes, she became involved with another woman from a better family who showed her the way. And yeah, I loved doing that book actually, because I felt quite angry at the fact that women were so downtrodden in the 19th century, and I suppose that came out really. But also that particular book spawned another, which was Far From Home,
Of course.
and in fact
Set in
has
America.
spawned the one which I have just finished, is coming out in November.
Really?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
fantastic.
yes.
So it'll be
Yes,
a three.
it's coming. It's not a trilogy, but the characters which are in the new book had appeared in the first and the second.
So there will be some of the American
It's
part of
mainly set in
It is?
America.
Ah.
Well, do you remember if you read Far From Home,
Yes.
there was this little Chinese girl
Oh, yes.
who was born to Edward, who was in the first book.
Yes.
And the book is about her going back to America to find her roots. I found it really very interesting to write, even though I had to look into the Chinese population in America,
Oh, gosh, yes.
because of the main character,
Yes.
and all the other things that were happening there at that time.
Was most of your research for this on the internet, or did you manage to find
Most of it was, yes, most of it was, because I had difficulty finding 19th century America in the libraries. There is some, and I actually used that when I wrote Far From Home, but I needed more, and so I looked on the internet for that. So that worked very well, actually. It's good to use both. I mean, I love the libraries, but it is good to use both.
Yes. One of the things that most attracted me to your books, apart from the fact that they are just such a good read, is the local history.
Yes.
Because having been new up here, I found I learnt so much myself
Yes, of course.
out of
Yes.
it. But I wonder if there's a lot of local historians around. Have any of them ever sort of picked you up on anything?
Fortunately, they haven't, but that's because I am very careful about using local history. There's nothing to stop anyone exaggerating something, because who knows what might have happened. But if I'm using a date of when a particular thing occurred, for instance, when Queen's Dock was first opened, and when the first sod was dug, I make sure that those dates are correct. So that kind of thing, like the opening of Pearson Park.
I'm really interested. Do you have a typical day?
Quite often. Quite often I do. If I'm in good working mode, I start about 9:30 to 10 and keep on working till about 4, with breaks for tea, of course. And tea, and then more tea. Fueled by tea, I am. And I finish, I would work later actually, but sometimes I've had enough. And also I was thinking about my eyes, that sitting at a computer is not good.
No.
And I generally do that. So say from about 10 to about 4, I work constantly. That's not to say that I'm not thinking about my novel at other times, which of course I am.
Yes,
Yes,
runs
yes.
through.
Yes,
So,
but of course I have to stop sometimes to go out and do whatever we have to do.
shopping.
That's right, and also I give talks and I go to meetings and things like that. But generally, yes, I do work through It's a proper job, you see. It has to be. It's not something you can write on the back of an envelope. And if you're writing nearly a 500-page book, which is something like 100,000 words, it's not something you can just do when you feel like it. And particularly if you have a contract and your publisher's waiting for the book, you have to have it finished. You can't say, well, I'm sorry, I didn't feel like writing today. You have to sit down and write.
So you're quite self-disciplined.
Yes, I am. You have to be. You have to be.
And of course, one of the themes in your book is the very strong women.
Yes.
And I think probably they get that from you. With your mother, your sister, your grandma.
My granny, yes. Well, this was because my father was away in the army during the war. Yes, so we moved in with granny in the West Riding.
And did you feel the loss of a male around at that time?
I don't think so. I always looked forward to him coming home, but I was quite young. I felt quite secure. So, and of course there were a lot of men away at that time.
Of course.
Those that weren't, those that were around, were generally miners, because it was a mining village we lived in.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't think I did.
But that could have made you stronger too, growing up.
Well, possibly. Although I was a very quiet child. I was a very quiet child. Yeah. Always had a book in that.
Who used to buy me a book for my birthday and for Christmas.
Yes, I have the same.
You just devoured it.
That's right, yes.
So you moved from West Yorkshire to East Yorkshire, became a model.
I did, yes. Imagine that. That was like another world, really, another life. I don't think it was me.
It wasn't what you set out to do.
No, not really, except that I had model training when I was 12. Whilst I was still living in the West Riding, yes. My mother sent me. I don't think it was my idea.
Oh, right. Did you have to do the deportment with books on your head?
That's right, all the books.
Your great interest was ballroom dance then?
Well, no, that was before I had my book. This was before I was married, yes. I would only be 18, something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So your husband wasn't your partner when you got your medals?
No, that was before. I mean, I met him about 2 years later when I was 20. But I actually started dancing when I was about 16, so I took my medals then. You know, that's what girls did in those days. Of course. Bronze, silver, gold. I did that. And then a gradual sort of progression to ballroom dancing. But, I mean, it wasn't long. It wasn't very...
Can you still bake bread? I
can bake bread, but I haven't done it in quite some time. Well... me, you see, and I would get fat if I ate all the homemade bread.
I know what you mean.
You might have.
You obviously are so well known around here. You must get recognised a lot.
Yes, I do actually.
Does this get tedious when you're in the supermarket?
No, not at all. Not a bit. Not a bit.
I know a lot of people say, a lot of famous people say, being recognised, people think of them as part of their family, and
well, they do, but you know that's quite a compliment, really.
Yeah.
I feel it is anyway. I remember my first editor, when my first book came out, said to me that she said you will get a lot of support from local readers. She said they're like that in the north. It doesn't happen in the south, but it happens in the north, and it's true.
It is.
It is true. You do get a lot of support. And if people want to stop me and say hello, well, that's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine.
Yeah, I must say, you are very approachable.
Well, yes, I mean, why wouldn't I be? I'm still the same person as I was. I just happen to write books.
And I think actually you're rather a special person.
That's really kind of you to say so.
And I would like to say thank you so much for allowing us to come and do this today with you.
Well, as I say, you're very welcome indeed. Thank you very much for coming.